So welcome back everyone to another episode. This is Digital Master once again with you, and I want to thank you first for being here. But we're going to dive into my top 5 for day 2 CitizenCon. So if you've watched CitizenCon, at the end of this, I'm pretty sure if you're here, you probably watched it. But if you did not watch it, I am hopeful that this sort of also serves as a recap of sorts for day 2, in a sense. Won't be talking about everything, but again, I do hope it's still useful and helpful to you. At the end of the video, though, for everyone here, definitely please share with me your top 5. List it out from 1 to 5, and let me know exactly in what order you walked away feeling excited about each of these independent items. All right, so I'm gonna, first of all, I did part 1, I did day 1 on a different video, but I actually released that video at the worst time ever, so it did not get a lot of traction. Regardless of what happens with this video, I definitely hope that you take the time to share with me what your top 5 was as far as the features that you're most excited about that were announced on day 2 CitizenCon. But again, I do have another video. If you haven't had a chance to watch the one for day 1, please go check that out and also do the same there. Let me know what your top 5 was. All right, let's jump right into this day 2. And like the first one, I'm going to give you my basically my honorable mentions, which in this case is only going to be 2 things. And so the videos behind me will reflect the topic that I'm talking about. What's behind me now is from day 1. So let me just go ahead and get to day 2. And we're going to talk about my first honorable mention. Okay. Which in this case is going to be the next ships that we are expecting to get. And there's been a lot of speculation around this. And there's going to be some key ones here that actually I'm much more excited about than others, which would include the Perseus. The Perseus, and let me see here. Question about that one. The Perseus, and I think it was, of course, the base building one, the space station building one Pioneer. That one I'm really excited about, as well as this one. Well, that just passed, the Terrapin, the medical Terrapin. I'm very excited about that one as well. So, and I think we're gonna get some more mining ones that I have no idea for sure. And that looks like it might be actually, I don't know. And then I really don't know about that one. Looks like a baby Corsair, but I digress. Anyway, that is my number 7. Well, I'm going to call it number 7. Again, I'm giving you my top 5, but I'm still numbering these based on that list in regard to these honorable mentions. So yeah, all the ships that they mentioned, I think that's cool. It's a nice list there for sure. Of course, there's certain ships that we would like to see on that list, but we'll let that go, or at least I will for now. All right, number 6 for me will actually be the Starlancer Max. And though I am excited about that ship, I think it's good. I think I have ships that basically serve that purpose already, but in particular, I have the Max. Of course, this is the TAC, by the way, so just to definitely share that. But I guess I'm just talking about the Starlancer series in general. I thought it was a very nice. I think it's a very nice ship. All the iterations or versions of that ship look really nice, from the base building one, the BLD, to the TAC, to the Max. Now, I did pledge the Max because I'm an industry player primarily, and so I felt like that might be a good fit for my fleet. So it has been added. But these are my 2 honorable mentions. Okay, so let's get right into the meat and potatoes here, which will be my top 5. And for number 5, we're gonna go with let's see, player shops. So this is very exciting to me because it ties right into that MMO economy system that again, it's not many games you'll see that allow you to do this. I know a lot of people that I've talked to, and shameless or shameful plug here. I never got a chance to play Star Wars Galaxies. I know, but always heard excellent things about it. By the time that I got into a lot of the MMO space, that game was basically on its way out. And by the time I even thought to try it, I think it was gone by that time, if I recall correctly. Anyway, this feature, the shops here, shops and trading, player shops and trading, is amazing because it's going to allow us to create shops and sell the things that we craft. And I was, thinking, because of course, as they presented it in the show, all you see is like the armors, and of course, you can imagine the guns. But man, I started to think like all kinds of things you can sell, most likely or hopefully, in these shops, like in creative weapons, arms, like a ship's arms a shop, like where you're selling missiles, torpedoes, and the top of the line. Because again, remember with the crafting system, we can player crafted things will be the best things that you can get in the game. So imagine that. You can create all kinds of things, and I wonder how deep this goes, right? I'm very curious, like if there's a limit to what we can sell in the game. But as you start to think about all the possibilities, it's pretty amazing. They did mention that the point of sale has to happen at the location, and I think that's fine starting out, but I do hope that they expand on that at some point in the future. Again, this is basically tied to 1.0, Star Citizen 1.0. So I'm very happy with having that, to be honest with you. So yeah, player shops and trading is my number 5. Now we're going to move on to my number 4, which in this case is going to be, and you might have guessed it already, crafting. So crafting, of course, is something that I'm super excited about, something that I tend to engage in with almost any MMO I play. Literally every MMO I've played, I get into the crafting space and I try to build some of the best things that you can build, leveling up your skills and all that. But the way Star Citizen is doing it's going to be amazing. We have the blueprint system, material quality system, stat customization, research and tiers, and then all these other nuances to it. That's going to make it a very deep system. And I don't know, I just cannot overstate how excited I am about this particular feature that they mentioned. Okay, so with that said, let's go on to my number 3, and that, my friends, will be a big one: base building. Now you might say, how in the world is this number 3? And I was asking myself that question too when I was making this list. But my number 2 and my number 1 is pretty incredible. So it's hard for me to move this one up the list. But as you can imagine, base building is a huge deal to me. I'm so happy that it's planned to be coming in Star Citizen 1.0. That means we'll hit the ground running with this entire base building system once the game releases its 1.0 version. Super exciting. So we have the construction devices, of course, the different levels of that. So, your small one, which I think will be showing on the screen in a second. But that's first of all, I'm very happy they did it this way. So it kind of, no matter where you sit on the, scale of, whether you're a solo player only, or if you are heavily engaged in a very large guild, there's something for you with this base building system. I know a lot of people are concerned with like the in-game gameplay as it pertains to big orgs versus the solo player versus small orgs, et cetera, et cetera. But the cool thing about the base building system in it, by itself, is that it does cater to everybody. So there'll be something for everyone, whether you want to build a small, hiatus, small getaway, or like, a farm, or hydroponics. Well, it's basically the same thing, right? But like, like a drug farm, or if you want to build, your own little small base where you also craft and, do little things here and there and focus on maybe one thing and then maybe sell that, or, what have you. Just so many opportunities, I think, when you start to combine all these different systems together too. I think is just going to be limited by the imagination. That's my personal expectation. All right. I think, and then also, again, you have the resource management that will also play a part in all this. So again, as I was saying, all these systems marrying together, it's going to be very, 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 very in depth and a lot of fun. I really think so. So even with this, you have the upgrade in tiers, you have the power management, structure types. Again, like this is not just building a home base. This is building legit cities at, if you want to go that way, that's possible, especially with your organizations and what have you. You'll be able to build these very sprawling industrial centers and all that, all that. Like this, like I said, the sky is, I hate to say the sky is the limit, but like it's limited by your imagination. But it's so exciting to have heard everything that they brought out or talked about with the base building system. So very excited. That is my number 3. It was tough to land it at number 3 again, but on that note, my number 2 is space stations. Now you might also say, well, how in the world is space stations not number 1? I don't know. It depends on where you sit in this this thing, but wait till you see my number 1. The number 2 here is indeed the space stations for me. I'm very, very excited. Like I'm in a guild that I'm building up with some very cool people, and we're currently, at the time of this video, we have about 30 people, about 40 in our Discord minus the bots, which is maybe about 4 or 5 bots, so 35 people. But we're growing significantly, and my goal is to keep that going. We'll see how big we get, but at the end of the day, I still think that the way this will work, even if we're talking about secure space, I think there'll be something for all the guilds. Of course, I don't know about the super small ones, but of course, well, I guess we are a super small one. But at the end of the day, if we put that work in, we can achieve certain goals, right? I don't know what it will look like when we get to 1.0, because again, Ian just basically said a whole lot of resources will be required, right? But we still don't have a quantifiable value to gauge how long that might take to do, right? So we'll wait to hear more about that. But again, the goal is to grow the org so that we can partake in everything that Star Citizen has to offer. And that will be the goal. Of course, if we ever do want to participate in PvP, it's nice that we'll be able to, also focus on the lawless systems or other systems and just kind of decide how we want to approach that. But again, it's about that choice, right? It's about that option being there. That's pretty amazing. But to have a home in the stars is going to be wonderful. And I'm super, super, super excited about space stations. All right. And honestly, it's even so much more that we could talk about with that, right? Because you start to bring in the base building things that we just mentioned, and you take that to the stars, man. It's basically incredible. It's incredible. So, but for the sake of the time of the video, I will stop there on my number 2. Let's go to number 1. What is the thing that I'm most excited about with day 2 CitizenCon? What could that possibly be, right? Well, 1.0. Yes, because it encapsulates all of these things, right? So how can I not put it at number 1? To get Star Citizen 1.0 out the gate, like that's going to be a very special day. And again, I'm hoping that happens no later than 2026 or mid 2026, just to be fair. Will it come sooner? We can hope. But, of course, we should be careful with that. So set your expectations. I'm setting mine. I don't know when we're going to get it. The hope is 2026. If we're going to get Squadron 42 in 2026, maybe. But it could take even longer. Who knows? But I tell you this, when that day comes, I'm going to be excited. And with the release of the roadmap, and again, it's just a roadmap, right? There's no guarantee of when we're getting anything. But at the end of the day, they have all of these things I mentioned listed as part of 1.0. Imagine that. So I can't be more excited. Of course, it's just a matter of time. As I always say, just a matter of time. And so what are your thoughts? What does your list look like? What's your 1 through 5? And what's your honorable mentions? I would love to hear that from you in the comment section below. But also, as I do, I'm very heavily recruiting, as I somewhat mentioned earlier. So we have a very interesting or cool org. Like I said, we're basically trying to create a very positive, inclusive environment. Um, Also, in the sense of providing um, ease of access and basically easy engagement from casual players to active players. So we're basically trying to cater to both crowds in a very effective way. I'm taking on that responsibility in the sense of creating a framework that really facilitates that, right? So when you think of casual players, you can't join all the time. You can't, you're probably very busy in life. And so you really don't have time to jump in when, someone puts up the bat signal or something, right? So with that, you just play when you can, and then also no pressure, right? So you don't always have to join chat if that's not your thing. You don't, but at the same time, with all that said, my goal is again to create a framework that supports that. And how does that work? So basically, I'm building a system where we don't have to take all these, hours upon hours or even hours in general to prepare you for an operation. Basically, we create a framework that allows you to digest information at your own pace so that when you do come to play, you're already ready and you can be plugged in. I call it the plug and play system, right? And then for our active members, I definitely incentivize it because obviously that's where we'll get the most things done and be able to pretty much organize and orchestrate at a moment's notice or, what have you. So for that, most of the leadership positions, especially at the higher level, are basically open to active players. And so, again, we're very early in the process of building our organization, but the goal is to be absolutely ready by the time 1.0 comes. And if 1.0 is coming in 2026, we'll be ready way sooner than that. But nonetheless, it's a work in progress, but we have already started and we have a large group of wonderful people. When I say large group, again, I'm talking 35. That's large for me. So, at least at the moment. So, and everyone has been so cool. And we've already had, or we're running events already in Star Citizen. So come check us out. The Discord, as well as the website, is in the comment section below. Come take a look at us, see if it's something that's up your alley. Regardless, I'm very glad that you're here. Don't forget to show me your list of your top 5. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for hanging out. Take care.